You wake up with a plan. You tell yourself you're going to get important things done. And then the notifications begin. One message. One short video. One quick scroll. One distraction becomes another. And before you know it, the day is gone. But here's the strange part. You were busy all day. You answered messages. You watched things. You worked. You checked things off your list. Yet when the day ends, you still find yourself asking, what did I actually accomplish? That question reveals something most people never stop to examine. The problem may not be time management. It may be attention management. Because your life is constantly moving in the direction of whatever has your attention. Focus on distractions, and your life becomes scattered. Focus on comparison, and dissatisfaction grows. Focus on fear, and hesitation takes over. Focus on meaningless stimulation, and meaningful work becomes harder. You become what you repeatedly focus on. And that raises a much more uncomfortable question. If you don't control your attention, who does? Your phone? Your notifications? Social media? Other people's opinions? Or simply whatever happens to appear in front of you? Because every time you say, just 5 more minutes, you're making a decision about your life. And every time you choose the easy distraction over the difficult task that actually matters, you're training your mind to do it again. The good news is that attention can be trained. Focus can be rebuilt. And once you learn to control where your attention goes, you begin to take back control of where your life goes. So let's begin. Your biggest problem isn't that you don't have enough time. Your biggest problem is that your focus is scattered. Think about it for a moment. The whole day slips by. But at the end of the day, you wonder, what did I actually get done today? You were busy, but you weren't productive. You did work, but you didn't do the work that mattered. And that single difference is what builds a life, or ruins it. Focus on what matters. This one idea catches the real mistake. The problem isn't time management. The problem is attention management. Now listen to a simple truth. Your life is moving in the exact direction your attention is going. If your attention is on distractions, your life will be scattered. If your attention is on comparison, your life will be filled with dissatisfaction. If your attention is on fear, your life will be filled with hesitation. The point is clear. You become what you focus on. But what's the real problem? You never decide where your focus should go. Your phone decides. Notifications decide. Other people decide. And you just drift along with the flow. Now ask yourself this. If you can't control your attention, can you really control your life? This is where the problem begins. You tell yourself, I'll just scroll for a little bit. But that little bit slowly turns into hours. You tell yourself, just one more video, and then it becomes a chain. Your mind has been trained to chase easy dopamine. To avoid hard work. Now think about this. The thing that makes you feel good instantly often pulls you backward in the long run. And the thing that feels difficult right now. If you're serious about becoming more focused, disciplined, and intentional with your time, consider subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore ideas that can help you think more clearly, build better habits, and take greater control of your life. And if you're finding value in this audiobook, a like helps support the channel and lets us know you want more content like this. Now, let's continue. Is exactly what moves you forward. But what does your brain choose? Easy. Fast. Instant. And that keeps you average. Now understand something deeper. You don't have unlimited energy. Every day you have a limited amount of focus. And what are you doing with it? You're spending it on random things. Looking at someone's story. Comparing your life to someone else's. Scrolling for no reason. And when the real work shows up, you say, I just can't focus, because you've already wasted your mental energy. Now imagine this. If the moment you wake up you put your focus on just 2 or 3 important things, No phone, no distractions, no comparison, what would happen? You would do less work, but you would do the right work. And that is what would change your life. There's another dangerous habit. You treat everything as important. Every message feels necessary. Every notification feels urgent. Every task has to be done right now. But what's the reality? Not everything is important. Some things are just noise. But you can't tell the difference between noise and signal. And that is what destroys your focus. Here's a powerful shift. Starting today, before you do anything, ask yourself, is this truly necessary? Or do I just want to look busy? That one question will eliminate 50% of your distractions. Because the truth is, you don't need to do more work. You need to do the right work. Here's another truth. You think multitasking makes you smart. But what does science say? Multitasking fractures your focus and tanks your productivity. That means you're not even doing one thing well. You're just leaving several things half-finished. And then you end up frustrated. Now imagine this. If you did only one thing at a time with full focus, what would happen? You would finish faster, do it better, and feel satisfied. That is deep work. And that is the rare skill in today's world. Because everyone is distracted. And the ones who stay focused are the ones pulling ahead. Understand this. You don't need to get ahead of the whole world. You just need to get ahead of your own distractions. And the day you do that is the day your growth becomes unstoppable. But there's something most people never grasp. You think you just need more focus. The truth is, before you can increase focus, you have to remove the distractions. Because focus isn't a superpower. Focus is a result. It shows up when the noise around you drops. Be honest with yourself for a second. How many times do you check your phone while you're working? How many times do you unlock your screen for no reason? How many times do you break your own attention? And then you say, my focus is weak. No. Your environment is weak. You're working in a place designed to distract you. Notifications. Social media. Random thoughts. And you expect to drop into deep focus. That's not possible. Here's a simple rule. Whatever breaks your focus, start removing it. During work, don't just silence the phone, put it far away. Don't just turn off notifications, uninstall the unnecessary apps. Because change doesn't come from willpower. It comes from systems. Here's another deep truth. Your mind cannot sit empty. If you don't give it direction, it will go looking for distractions on its own. So focus doesn't just mean saying no. Focus means saying yes to one thing. Think about it. You want to be a little bit of everything. A little skill here. A little knowledge there. A little interest somewhere else. But nothing solid ever forms. Because you never go deep. And in today's world, depth is what creates value. The person who goes deep in one thing stands out. That person pulls ahead. Everyone else just becomes average noise. Ask yourself, do you want depth, or do you want distraction? Because the two don't travel together. Here's another problem. You get bored quickly. The moment the work gets a little tough, you start looking for something easy. And that's exactly where you lose the game. Because real growth always begins after boredom. When you're uncomfortable. When you're struggling. When your mind wants to run, and you still stay. That's where your level changes. But what do? The second boredom shows up, you pick up your phone and hand yourself another distraction. And you stay exactly where you are. Now imagine if you changed that habit. If in the moment of boredom you held yourself steady, what would happen? You would slowly train yourself for deep work, for long focus, for real growth. Here's another powerful point. You wake up every morning. But you don't have clarity about what actually needs to be done today. So naturally you waste time on random things. Clear priorities create focus. If you know that only these two things matter today, your mind will move in that direction. But if everything is important, then nothing is. Here's a rule. Every day, decide on only 2 or 3 tasks that will move your life forward. Everything else is optional. It sounds simple, but this creates the biggest difference. Slowly you're starting to see it. Focus isn't a trick. It's a lifestyle. It's a decision you have to make every single day. And the day you start taking that decision seriously is the day your direction becomes clear. And when direction is clear, speed increases on its own. But here's another truth that's a little uncomfortable. You don't have clarity because you're not honest with yourself. You say, I need to do this. But deep down you know you're running from it. You set goals but don't take action. You make plans but don't follow them. And then you blame time, luck, situations. But what's the real reason? You still haven't decided what truly matters to you. Focus on what matters keeps driving this point home. Clarity doesn't come from the outside. Clarity comes from within. When you ask yourself, if I only had 1 year left, what would I focus on? If I could only learn one skill, what would it be? If I had to drop everything and do only one thing, what would that be? These questions aren't easy. But these are the questions that give you direction. Be honest with yourself. What's the biggest distraction controlling your attention right now? Your phone? Social media? Constant notifications? Or something else? Share it in the comments. And then ask yourself, what would change if you took that control back? When you rest, rest without guilt. That balance multiplies your focus. Slowly the picture is becoming clear. Focus isn't just a skill. It's a discipline. It's a habit. It's an identity. And the day you start seeing yourself as a focused person is the day your decisions change. You'll automatically avoid distractions. You'll take your priorities seriously. You won't waste time. Because you've become different. And that is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. But now understand something most people ignore. You want to focus. But your mind keeps wandering. Into thoughts. Into worries. Into random ideas. And you wonder, why can't I control my mind? What's the truth? Your mind isn't the problem. Your training is incomplete. You've never trained your mind. You just left it open. Free to think whatever it wants, go wherever it wants. And now you expect it to become disciplined. That's not possible. Here's a simple analogy. If you leave a dog without training, it will run at every sound. It will react to everything. But if you train it, that same dog becomes focused. It stays under control. Your mind is exactly the same. An untrained mind equals distraction. A trained mind equals focus. So how does the training happen? This book gives a simple method. Awareness. Every time your attention drifts, catch it immediately and tell yourself, not now. Then return to your work. In the beginning it will happen over and over. Your attention will wander 100 times. But each time you bring it back. And slowly your mind will learn where to stay. That practice is what sets you apart. Here's another thing. You think focus means working long hours. But what's the truth? Focus means doing deep work in a short time. You can work 8 hours and still stay average. Someone else can work 3 hours and produce top-level results. What's the difference? Depth. Now imagine this. You put the phone away for 1 hour, close the door, and work with full concentration. That 1 hour becomes equal to 3 or 4. That is smart work. That is focused work. There's another hidden trap, perfection. You think it has to be perfect, and in that chase you either never start or you slow way down. But what's the truth? Perfection kills focus. Because you don't take action, you just keep thinking. So starting today, focus on progress, not perfection. Do a little, but do it every day. Do it imperfectly, but finish it. That builds momentum. Here's another powerful realization. Your environment can either build your focus or completely destroy it. If you're around people who aren't serious, who are distracted, who waste time, you'll become the same. Because environment influences you silently. So check your circle. Check your space. The place where you sit, is it growing you or distracting you? If the answer isn't clear, then change is necessary. Because focus doesn't only come from the inside. It is also built from the outside. Here's another mistake. You make everything urgent. But what's the truth? Urgent and important are different things. Urgent is what demands attention right now. Important is what changes your life. And the problem? You get tangled in the urgent and keep postponing the important. That's why you stay busy but never grow. Here's a simple shift. Every day, do the important work first. Then the rest. And if there's no time left afterward, that's fine. Because you already finished what mattered most. Slowly you're understanding. Focus isn't one single technique. It's the result of many small habits that together change your entire life. And the day you start taking those habits seriously is the day your productivity doesn't just change, your identity does. But now understand one final layer. It's the most powerful and the most ignored. You want to focus, but inside you don't have clarity about why you're doing any of this. You work, but you don't feel connected to it. And when there's no connection, consistency disappears. That's why you stay motivated for a few days and then slowly fall back into old patterns. Because you don't have a strong why. Ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? For money? For respect? For freedom? Or just because everyone else is doing it? If your why is weak, your focus will stay weak. But if your why is clear, distractions shrink on their own. Because now you know what you can't afford to lose. Now imagine you have a clear goal, and you know that if you get distracted you'll move farther away from it. Would you waste time so easily? No. Because every distraction would feel expensive. That awareness is what makes focus strong. Here's another deep truth. You don't need to give everything up. You just need to change your priorities. You can still enjoy things. You can still use social media. You can still spend time with friends. But the difference is, those things won't control your life anymore. You'll control them. That's balance. Here's another mistake. You think, I'll focus when I'm in the mood. But what's the reality? Mood is never stable. If you work according to mood, you'll never be consistent. So starting today, follow one rule, system over mood. Whether you feel like it or not, you do the work. Because discipline does what motivation can't. Slowly your mind starts to understand this is serious. This isn't a joke. And then the resistance begins to drop. Here's another powerful shift. Until now you were thinking, I need to avoid distractions. Now understand this, you need to become stronger than the distractions. Because distractions will always be there. That's how the world is. The difference is some people become slaves to them, and some people stay focused even in the middle of them. Now imagine you become the kind of person who can work in chaos. Who stays clear in the noise. Who remains steady under pressure. Who can stop you then? No one. Because your control is no longer outside. It's inside. And that is the ultimate power. Here's one last realization. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things consistently. Small actions every day slowly take you where you want to go. And one day you look back and think, I've changed so much. I didn't even notice. That is real growth. Silent. Steady. Powerful. And now you're at the point where you only need to make one decision. Will you stay the same? Or will you start living with focus? Because the truth is this. Your life won't change overnight. No single day, no single motivation, no single video will transform you. But one decision, followed by your daily small habits, will slowly turn you into a completely different person. Listen carefully now. You don't need to change the whole world. You just need to decide where your attention will go. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, growth happens. Focus on what matters. This one line keeps reminding you that life isn't complicated. We make it complicated. When we get tangled in everything. When we listen to every voice. When we accept every distraction. But the moment you start choosing what to ignore, what to avoid, and what is truly important, that's when your life starts to simplify. Now imagine a life where you wake up and you already know what you need to do today. No confusion. No unnecessary stress. You do your work with full focus, and at the end of the day you feel satisfied. Today I did the right work. That feeling is the biggest win. If these words only sound nice to you, they'll end right here. But if they're shaking something inside you, then start small today, but start for real. Reduce one distraction. Finish one important task. Clarify one decision. That's all. And that is where your transformation begins. If this video felt even a little real to you, don't leave it here. Like it. Because it's not just support. It's a signal that you want to live an intentional life, not a random one. Subscribe to Life Upgrade, because here we don't just talk. Here mindset is built. Here you get the things that upgrade you from the inside, not the outside. And in the comments, write the one thing you're going to focus on starting today. Because clarity comes from writing it down. And when clarity arrives, action becomes easier. One last step. If you truly want this knowledge to be more than something you just heard, bring this book into your life. Don't read it casually. Read it like you're shaping your future. Every page will remind you that you don't have to do everything. You only have to do what truly matters. The link is in the description. But don't open it like you're just curious. Open it like you're ready for change. Because free knowledge inspires. Applied knowledge changes lives. And remember this. The day you take control of your focus is the day you take control of your direction. And once your direction is under control, nothing will be able to stop you. Made you think differently about your attention, your habits, or the way you spend your time, take a moment to reflect on one simple question. What has been getting most of your attention lately, and is it actually worth it? Because your attention is more than just where you look. It is where your life goes. So choose carefully what you give it to. If you found value in this audiobook, consider subscribing to the channel for more books, ideas, and lessons on focus, discipline, psychology, habits, and personal growth. And before you leave, share one thing in the comments. What is one distraction you're going to take control of starting today? Maybe it's your phone. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's procrastination. Whatever it is, start there. Because you don't need more time. You need to take control of the attention you already have. Until next time. Stay focused, stay intentional, and keep building a life that deserves your attention.